Something that I have been looking forward to for years is having somebody ask me hard questions about economics, about real estate, housing, all of that. This is something that I think the audience would love to see as well, because I would say it's fair to say that a lot of the people on my channel lean bullish. We have had Melody Wright on the channel several times. I would say she leans bearish at this point. But what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over to Melody Wright, and she is going to ask me questions because I trust her to have the audience's best interest in mind. And she's not just some doomer living in their mom's basement. She's really been in the business, has a tremendous amount of experience. And I think it'll be an interesting discussion. So, Melody, the floor is yours.
Sure. And Michael, I know everybody knows you, but would you mind just kind of giving your origin story or a little synopsis of your experience, how you got here? I think that would be a great way to start.
Awesome. So my real estate, just to give the origin story. So I believed in work 40 hours to 40 years to retirement. So I'm a Gen X. I was told, go to school, get a good job, climb the corporate ladder. So I did that. I went and got an economics degree. I started working, and then I went back and got an MBA in the evening. So I was working full time and getting my MBA in the evening. So very numbers oriented. I then got an accounting job, so I was very comfortable with numbers. That led to a consulting background in enterprise software, which led to a sales gig and all of that. I really started getting money in the .com era. I successfully turned $7,000 into $200,000 in the stock market. Ultimately, right around my 30th birthday, Melody, I lost most of it. I lost 80% of that. I went from feeling like a genius to feeling like a fool. Some people out there may have a similar experience in this era with crypto, for example. Again, when it runs hot. I remember saying to friends and family, I'm smarter than Warren Buffett. Those are always dangerous words. I did. I mean, I just have to own it. But then I lost 80%. And I ultimately went to cash with about $40,000 left. And I was depressed. $200,000, Melody, was more than my family ever had. We grew up extremely poor, house insecure. Money was a constant stressor. So losing all of that at 30, I had a wife, I had a family, I had a daughter. I was not in a good headspace. I believe that the stock market was a casino, and I didn't have the inside track. I didn't have the rules. I didn't go to the right university. So in a depressed state, because now I'm 30, I'm traveling 3 days a week for work on airplanes, which I hate. The only way I can get through that travel is to read books. I can focus, and my fear of flying goes away. It's a saving grace. Did about 1,000,000 miles flying, and I hated every mile. I found Rich Dad Poor Dad. It changed my life. I was 30 years old, made six figures a year, have an MBA, an economics degree, and was an accountant for 2 years. And that book introduced all kinds of new concepts to me. So for a year, I consumed books. I read several hundred. They told me to invest in my backyard. I happen to live in the Silicon Valley. It has never made sense in my lifetime to invest here, but I did not know that. So for 52 Sundays, I tried to find cash flow in the Bay Area. It didn't work. My wife, much smarter than I am, sat me down at week 52 and said, I'm not doing this again. Figure something out. So at that point, I wasn't willing to go back to the stock market. I wasn't willing to go out of state because I hate flying that much. So we pulled out a California map and we drew circles. And 2.5 hours away, there's Fresno, California. Never lived there, never knew anyone. I drove through once as a teenager going to Yosemite, nothing. But the numbers made sense. So we start looking at Fresno, and ultimately we find 1818 Norris Drive East, 93703, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, single story in my buy box. And we buy it. $107,000, rents for $1,200. Cash flows day one. I didn't know any 20% down, normal loan. This, you could look it up on Zillow. I gave you the address. We closed December something, 2002. And we're a landlord. And I'm excited. I'm happy. But as stories go, real estate tests you. My first tenant who moved in never paid rent again. We did everything right. Credit check, reference check, income check, landlord reference, everything right. They just got divorced. And the wife took off. The husband became an alcoholic. I, again, invest in California. So it took 3 months to get him out, and he damaged the property. I walk into that property. We've owned it now 4 months. Maybe it was 4.5 months. Defeated again. Remember my story. I just lost 80%. I'm wrecked. Like I let my family down and I just burned half our cash. My wife, Olivia, thankfully, smarter than I, said, did we do anything wrong? The answer was no. We did everything right. There's just no box for, are you going to get divorced on the rental application?
Right.
And she says, let's try one more time. Because again, we don't know Fresno. By that point, we don't have rent for 3 months. We're paying $1,000 to a lawyer to get them out. And so I'm reading all kinds of horror stories. Fresno's the armpit of California. Crime is everywhere. Gangs. I'm just circling the drain. Olivia says, no, let's try again. Thankfully, we do. And the rest is history. The next tenant moves in, never misses rent, cash flows. I go do a cash out refi, which is really easy to do in 2005. I pull all of my capital out and more, unfortunately. So I turn Norris Drive into what I call an alligator, which means my mortgage payment is higher than rent. Never do that, folks. That's dumb, 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 dumb. But thankfully, we take that 40 grand and buy 2 more units. So we start to ladder up.